Okay, good morning everyone. I'm going to get right into the stock charts, give you guys an idea of what I see in the markets. Pretty much using technical analysis. I don't use fundamental analysis. I mean, yes, bigger picture, I incorporate it into my thesis, kind of my general thesis when I'm looking for technical analysis and looking for what I'm seeing in the charts. But ultimately, I try to let these charts tell me what is going on or what is likely to happen in the future. At the end of the day, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. All I can do is use the charts to tell me what the probability is, what's likely to happen in the future. And then we manage the trade, we manage our position sizes, and we take action. So if you guys are into that, if you guys like, some of the ideas and the analysis I put out, give me a thumbs up right now. I do appreciate that. It does help the channel. I'm going to get right into it. So triple Qs, what we got going on here? We've been chopping around this gap zone right here around 285.80. It's been doing a lot of chop through right now. It's been throwing me off a little bit because I can't quite tell if it's trying to base and recover or if it's just keeps, trying to whip people out of a short trade. So I'm watching it. They do, it's holding so far, I guess. So at the end of the day, maybe it wants to hold and run up to about 289.50, which is really the top of the gap right up here. That's completely possible. I still think even if it does that, I think we're going to roll over up there at that 289.50, continuing the downtrend. You can see here we have a high, a lower high, and then 289.50, maybe slight pop above it, and roll over right around there, making another lower high. Of course, we could roll over right now as well. I think we're rolling over regardless. I think that we need to get down to this 280.37 area. That's the major area of support. You can see back here on the hourly chart, that's the area where we had lots of reactions in this entire zone. So I think a test of that is in the cards, whether we go up and then down or just down to that level. That's the area where I would expect, where the buyers really will want to step in, or where we'll have, ultimately a major breakdown. So let's move on. We'll look at the SPY. SPY, same thing, just kind of chopping around. It's holding support right here at 342.60 until something changes. It is support. So we'll just continue to monitor that. I'm looking for some sort of a breakdown candle, but not seeing it yet. So we'll just continue to watch that. Small caps, same deal right here. Support 159.60. It hasn't quite got there. I think we're heading down there. Probably going to get there today. I'm seeing a lot of the small caps, sell off. So probably going to get down there today and hold. Again, a breakdown of that level will have bigger picture implications. It will be a false breakout right here. This big purple line that I have is really your trading channel on the daily chart. And if we get a nice impulsive break back down within that level, then this was a false breakout, bull trap, and we should head down to the bottom of the channel around 145 and possibly lower. But again, we got to see the breakdown. It is continuing to sell off. Looks like it's running right down to that level. Okay, let's go into some of these stocks I've been talking about for about 2 weeks or so. And really, I'm short pretty much all of these. I have a position in most of these, but I've been calling these out, I've given everyone an ample opportunity if they were interested in the trade. Pulte Homes. So clear breakdown today, doing what I was expecting it to do, but we had the little back test here, and then it's rolling over more on the hourly chart. The reason why I like this one is, again, if you look at the daily, we had big negative divergence in play, and on the daily we kept walking higher with negative divergence. We then broke trend right here, did a series of back tests, and now we're rolling over as expected, as the chart really told you that this is what was likely to happen. Target for me on this one still a ways down. I'm swinging for a kind of a larger target down around this 39.58. I might try to find an area where I can maybe take a little bit off. But as of right now, 39.58. Of course, I'll step in a little bit early, but there's probably some sort of support level. Yeah, it's just not that clean. So, yeah, I think 39.58, right around there, is my target. So I've got a little ways to go, about another 12, 13%. Looking good, though, so far, continuing to trend down. Carvana breaking down today. And you can see here on the daily, yesterday we creeped down into the gap, breaking down into the gap. Once you enter a gap, very high probability you fill the gap. Doesn't always happen, but the probability is elevated at that point. And today we're seeing continuation of filling that gap to the downside. So I'm looking for gap fill. I'll probably step in a little bit early and cover my position because that gap is pretty obvious. So you'll have a lot of shorts looking to cover just slightly ahead of that gap. The reason why this one looked really good is negative divergence here on the daily. You can see it right there, just clean, clear negative divergence, and yet price kept making little marginal new highs right there and there. So those are opportunities to short. And often, if you're not able to see these things, and a lot of people, they see just a new high price and they think price is always going to go up because it's higher today, so it's going to be higher tomorrow. When the reality is that these highs right here, these price highs, were the best areas to sell your position or to get short, essentially. Of course, I don't get short just on a divergent high. I wait for a price support trend line to break, and there's your trend line right there. We broke the trend line, did a back test. When I noticed this one, I didn't even notice this until I think right here when the back test was right there. So I got short on the back test, and now it's continuing to work in to the downside. Etsy doing what it was in the charts expected to do. Negative divergence, you can see it right here. There's your big negative divergence. Let me move that one slightly up. But negative divergence there on the PPO and the RSI as prices continue to kind of work higher. We broke trend right here. There's your break in trend, and then it did a full back test. And when I noticed this one at the full back test, I was able to get short on the back test, and it's now continuing to roll over. So first target, I got the hourly here. We've broken through this first level of support, which was kind of a minor level. It looks like we're heading down towards the next level, this will probably be where we'll get the reaction around 135.75. I would expect that we'll get some sort of a reaction around there, some sort of a kickback rally. But this thing's impulsively selling off now on the daily here. So what I'll do is I'll probably take a little bit of profit coming into this one. As this continues to come down, I'll take some profit, and then maybe let the rest run a little bit lower. Here's another one, SQ, continuing to sell off. What I liked about this one, big negative divergence on the daily. On the RSI, it was also there on the PPO. You can see it right there. Like that. So negative divergences. Here's your trend line right there. We were walking up that trend line, broke trend right here, and then did what, kind of created a secondary trend line. It didn't look like it was going to do a full back test. These trend lines are pretty steep, so then it created the secondary trend line, broke trend again right there, and now it really has no support. So you've got momentum has faded, and all price supports are starting to break now, and that's basically what's priced in. So you can see we're breaking support here on the hourly at 180.62. We've got a little gap right there, but I think we're coming down to 170.75. Probably get a reaction there. Maybe we bounce back up to 180, reject there, and head lower. Kind of zigzag our way lower, but ultimately I think the next stop is 170, right here, 170, about 170.75, and we'll look for some support right around there. Pelton starting to work out. Pelton had hourly divergence. It does not have it on the daily, so there's your hourly, there's your negative divergence on the hourly, where you can see we kept moving higher right here as the momentum started to fade on the hourly. So now we're heading down to what looks to be some near-term support, 126.62 on the daily. No negative divergence there on the daily. It's just, it's not there. So this chart tells me, because of the hourly, I could see us getting all the way down to this support down here, and then, but I don't know if we'll do that. Maybe what we're gonna do to get, in order to get daily negative divergence, maybe we'll come down a little bit and then have some sort of a relief rally, back testing this broken trend line and creating a higher or lower high right here on the daily, which would mean that would put in your negative divergence on the daily and set this up for a move down to the bottom of the trend line. But for now, heading lower. Here's Philip Morris bouncing off support as I called out yesterday. I was expecting it to bounce off support. Now we'll see if it can hold. We've had the reaction now off of support. If I can zoom in here, you can see support was right there at 73.26. I'm not sure why my chart's acting funny on me. Right there, 73.26. We got the bounce. Now I would expect that it holds. Maybe we come down and chop around a little bit, but I would expect that it holds. If it doesn't hold and we get back down into this area, I'm definitely out of this one. And I will look for this to break down further, but it should hold. That's the highest probability. So, and it is holding as of right now. Okay, Tesla. So Tesla's the only one of these trades that is still, kind of holding in there. You can see here on the daily, they just continue to hold this support level for about 420, but there's no horizontal support now in Tesla. Or sorry, this uptrend line, this diagonal uptrend line right here, it's been broken essentially, and I can't make a trend line that has not been broken. So this to me just looks like the kind of the drift, the sideways drift before you get the breakdown. Tesla's reporting, I believe they report earnings after the bell today, so that's going to be your catalyst to move this thing. To me, it says the chart tells me that it's going to break down, but it maybe it doesn't. So if it's good earnings, they'll probably gap it up to 496, maybe 500, make a marginally new high. I think it's going to gap down. That's what the chart tells me it's going to do. But again, could go either way. Zoom continues to head down towards what looks like the support line down around this 460. And so I think that's where Zoom's heading. 470, somewhere right in there, depending on, of course, when it gets there. But Zoom is telling me it's going to head down there. It's got big negative divergence on the daily. So I think once it gets down there, maybe it bounces a little bit, and then ultimately it's going to break. So I do see Zoom coming down to probably this 327 in pretty short order. However, there's no catalyst to enter the position yet. I've got nothing, no levels, no breakdowns of key levels to get into. So I'm going to let this one get down to this 460 and then wait for the break of this support line here that I have marked out. I've got an alert set for it. And then I'll look to enter a position. All right, and there's Redfin. If you took this trade, this is kind of the short-term profit area right here. Yeah, it's coming down with some real momentum, but I suspect it holds in this area around 46.60, and then we'll get probably some sort of a reaction. This is a high likely area that we do get a reaction here, and if it turns up anytime soon, then you'll get positive divergence on the RSI, and it's already there on the PPO. You can see it right there where you're starting to get buyers stepping in. So to me, this looks like the area to cover any shorts and to, obviously you could go long. I'm not interested in going long because of kind of the larger term bearish outlook that I have on the SPY. But this is an area there's a high likelihood of a reaction where we, bounce up, bounce target, well, probably back up to this bounce zone right up here would be a a high probability area around $50. I'm going to wrap up with gold and the dollar. So gold is breaking out today. It's not impulsive though yet. So we'll wait to see what happens. But you can see here, here's your downtrend line in gold. This is gold bullion. We've been walking down, going lower and lower and lower. There's no negative divergence though. I'm just not really seeing a negative divergence in gold. And today you can see they broke out, it consolidated a little bit and started to break, but now it's coming back in. So looks like a false breakout to me, but it is a breakout. It's above. So we'll watch that. If gold can hold here, then maybe it's maybe it's done with its downtrend and wants to start the next rally and didn't get down to my level of 1790. When you're in a bull market, a lot of the times you won't get to those key levels that everyone's looking to buy at. And, maybe that's what's happening. The dollar here, it's interesting to me, though, that, the dollar is falling, and yet the markets are kind of falling a little bit as well. But the dollar's falling today, continuing its downtrend. And you can see here, it looked like it wanted to get up right here. It looked like it was going to run up to 95, 50, but, we never quite got there. Now it's starting to kind of roll back over. So we'll watch this. There might be something here. There is, we still have bullish divergence, in the dollar. So even a marginal new low, if it makes it soon, would still be a divergent low and potentially a buying opportunity. So watch for that. Maybe it wants to come down and tag this trend line around 91.50, and that might be a good area to go long the dollar. So that's what I'm watching, guys. That's kind of what's going on this morning. I'll keep an eye on anything else, and I'm scouting for other trade ideas. Some of these ideas that I've had for the last 2 weeks are all starting to work out now, so I'm starting to look for some new ones. So keep an eye out. If you see something that's interesting, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.